Mr. Haralson, you admit to having a one-night stand with a defendant whose name you didn't even know 19 years ago. You claim you are the victim of paternity fraud, and now you are more than $20,000 in debt for a child you don't believe is yours and have never met. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Smith, you claim the plaintiff is your daughter, Talea's biological father, and the results will prove it today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Talea is here.
Yes.
Mr. Haralson, are you ready to see her for the first time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jerome, will you please escort her in?
Yes.
You couldn't even look at him when you came in? Is it too painful? What do you feel, Ms. Smith?
It's emotional because I ain't never seen him before. I still can't look at him. I don't want to be crying.
And you can look at me. Okay? Okay. Please take me back to the time in which you met.
We had just moved to Detroit. And my sister, she had moved in with a friend. So we went over there. We had visit. We were sitting, drinking, and talking. We were talked on the step for a minute. We went upstairs and had sex, and that's what it was. That's what it was.
So it really was a brief encounter.
Yes.
Right, and then, see, after that,
And Mr. Haralson, you
everybody split
say you
ways.
didn't even know her name.
nah,
He knew my name. I knew his
I didn't know
nickname.
of her, you know what I'm
was-
saying? We only knew nicknames from each other, like
Right.
what people called us. You know, we didn't know each other.
So how did she tell you she was pregnant?
I didn't know about the pregnancy. I only knew when the baby was here.
So I didn't tell y'all I was pregnant in the beginning.
No, how could you?
Because we were still in the same area.
No, when she came back in the picture or in town or wherever she was from, she
I
seen
didn't
my
never
mother.
leave.
She seen my. Well,
I didn't
left.
never leave.
I
See?
left.
Okay, so how you
So
gonna put
you
it on
left
me?
town.
You
Yes,
left.
I left.
After this sexual
How you
encounter,
gonna put on me
you
because
left
you left?
town.
Right.
All right, and the next thing you hear is what?
Well, I come back to her telling my mother that I have a child.
And so was Mr. Haralson the only man you were having sex with at the time?
Yes.
That's not what you told
That's
me.
not true.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yes. So
Miss Smith,
That's not true.
Yeah, ask her.
Talea, you say that's not true?
She said she was talking to somebody else. She said after her and
Well,
my
that ain't
daddy,
the same as I was-
around the time her and my daddy had sex, she was talking to somebody else.
Cause we wasn't in no relationship. It was just a hit it and quit it.
And
We
we-
wasn't in no
and like I
relationship.
said,
we
we
just had
both-
sex and that's what it was.
We both were, she was in and out of
But,
town.
but no, with
But it
all
was-
due respect, there are many people alive
Yeah,
here
it
on this
is.
earth who are products of hit it and quit it.
Right. It is.
So that's
is.
just reality.
It is.
How did you even find out you were on child support?
When I started working, it just started coming out my check. But in 2001 or 2 is when I noticed money started
So you
coming out.
never got a summons to appear in court?
No, you know why I didn't? Because I didn't have an address. I was not in town.
How he got on child support, how he told me was after they had sex or whatever, he said it was around his birthday, he was up on the influence, and supposedly my mama stole his ID and his social security card and went to put him on child support. When she went to go put him on child support, she gave them the wrong address, so therefore he never received no child support.
No,
Wait, hold
that's
on, hold
not
on.
what it was.
Wait,
Really?
hold on. You're
Really?
saying
You gonna
Mr.
try to do
Haralson
that?
told you that story?
Yes.
Mr.
Really? You gonna try
Haralson,
to do that?
what story is that? A stealing of the ID? What?
I know for a fact she stole my ID and my social security card. And she told
How
me
you
she
know
stole
for
it.
a
She told me she stole it.
I didn't tell
The
you I
same-
stole nothing.
If you didn't know his real name, you only knew the nickname. How did you find out his full
Cause the
name
people,
to put him on child
The
support?
people we were staying with, he been upstairs for I don't know how long he been living upstairs from the people downstairs. They knew his name.
And so when she went down and followed this process, at the point she gave your name and address, there should have been a letter or someone sent something to tell you to appear in court for a DNA test. You never got that?
No, I didn't. 'Cause
Explain.
I wasn't in the States. I was gone.
And so at that point, you pretty much missed the court date.
Yeah, I missed all of the court
So
dates.
what we do know is that if you miss a court date, you're going to be named the father by default.
Exactly.
And now you're $20,000 in debt because you did not show up to court. And this debt is all for a child you don't believe is your biological child.
See, but the thing about that is, I've tried throughout the years to get DNA tests, and she just wouldn't cooperate with that.
He didn't want to pay for it. He wanted me to go half. I'm not paying for half. I know she mine. I know she mine.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. I think this is an important time.
It is.
As we begin to talk about all of the things that were happening. All this time, you were growing up without a dad. And what was life like growing up without your dad? So much so that when you walked in here, you couldn't even look at him.
At the end of the day, there's nobody like your real dad. And I just never could really connect with any other male because they really wasn't my dad or whatever.
Tell me about your childhood. What was it like?
It was rough all the way up until 5 or 6 years ago.
When you say it was rough, what do you mean?
We wasn't stable. We was always moving around or whatever. Then 5 years ago, I had a son. And I'm not saying that was because of stuff my mama did or because we wasn't stable, but she just let me do.
Chose
she just
what
let me
you
do
wanted
whatever
to
I
do.
wanted
That's
to
what it
do.
was.
And you felt like you had no boundaries. You had no stability. I can see the tears in your eyes. That upsets you that you didn't have that.
Yeah. I mean, because I wouldn't have had a baby so young. I wouldn't have had to grow up so fast. I wouldn't have had to do none of that if my mom was just sit your tail down somewhere. Or if I had a dad, he'd be like, sit your tail down somewhere, you know, or tell me what to do, what not to do. And
That's one thing. I've had dialogue back and forth with her since she was 14, I think 15. But she contacted me on Facebook saying, I think you might be my father.
So, Talea, tell me about that search. I mean, I think you said that so beautifully too. And I don't think I've heard any, young person come into this courtroom and express it in that way, that they just wish they had a father or mother to tell them to go sit down somewhere. Because you hear so often children, it seems as if they resent when their parents parent them. And I hear you now saying that you wish you had that could have been life-changing for you. For someone to tell you that's enough, you need to come in at a certain time, have a curfew, you don't need to be out with him. You wanted that kind of parenting.
I mean, I wasn't even.
She had it until she wanted to be hot.
But you should tell me stay my fuck at home. Oh, I didn't have a home. I forgot.
I heard that. And that's okay for you to speak your truth.
I've always asked my mom, she could tell you, I've always asked her who my daddy was. She never gave me a different name. She always said his name was Raymond Haralson. He had 2 pages then. And so I messaged both of them. I was like, I think you're my dad, I think you're my dad. It was 2014. He said, is your mom Kawana? I was like, yeah, why? And then the conversation just went from there.
So, Mr. Haralson, when you get that message and you see it's Talea and she's saying, I think you're my dad, you ask her, is this your mother?
Yes.
What do you do next?
Well, basically, I'm just making sure she
But how can
is
you
who
ask
she
her
is.
daddy? He didn't know my name. So how can you ask her that? If your mama this and you ain't know my name and we ain't never speak out to that, that what you said. So.
This is what, three years ago? I've been paying child support since 2001. Oh, I know your name.
Yes, you do. You didn't know he was paying child support.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know he was paying child support until a couple years ago.
What?
And so you never feel like you benefited from that child support
you got the card. You been using the money. You got the card. I ain't never
a couple years ago, right?
Girl.
Cause
that my money, that's my child. You had the card.
Yeah, cause it was, and I took it.
Yeah. So what you complaining for?
I ain't complaining. I'm just saying I didn't know he was paying child support until a couple years ago. Cause if he was paying child support, you're supposed to support the child with child support.
She got a right to complain. She has a right to complain.
Okay.
She has a right to speak her piece because she's the one that has lived with this all this time. And to have the courage as a young girl to reach out to a grown man and say, I think you're my daddy, that's a lot. What was it like when you connected, when you finally got to talk to him?
We just like connected or whatever, cause like when we would have phone conversations, like our phone conversations would be like really, really long. We would talk all the time, and like we would just have so much in common, and like it wasn't weird and it wasn't awkward. And like I would always be like, Daddy this, Daddy that. He'd be like, don't be calling me that.
Oh, you would call him daddy, and he said, don't call him that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, I don't know. He said, I'm not saying you, he was like, I'm not saying you is, but just, you know, I don't want you to get used to calling me daddy and I don't be your daddy.
Wouldn't that be bad? You know what I'm saying? She been calling me father daddy all this time, and then we found out it's not. So I said, just don't get used to calling me that. I said, I just want to find out the truth regardless. You know what I'm saying?
So have you built a relationship together?
Yes, definitely.
You have. You talk?
Yes, a lot. Deep down in her heart, she believes I'm her father, and even if I tell her don't call me that, she still will call me that.
Sure is.
Because you do believe he is your dad. Have you prepared yourself, Talia, if it doesn't go your way? I mean, you say your mom was honest, she was talking to someone else. Have you prepared yourself? What if he's not my biological father?
Then I'm gonna look at her and say, who is? Because, I mean, if he not, then I probably won't worry about it, because I'm gonna be 20 years old, then I just wouldn't see the point, but.
20 years old is still very young, honey. And I want to tell you, there is no time frame on the feelings that you have related to wanting to know your father. Trust me, I see people each and every day, 50, 60 years old, still wanting to know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I just want you to understand.
I wouldn't want to know if he's not, because I don't like opening up to people. Like, I have a wall, and he could tell you I have a wall, and I don't even want to like let him all the way in yet till I find out, and I'm not trying to start over with somebody else. That's just not gonna happen.
It's hard for you.
She's not trying to go past me.
I understand why you have the wall. And Mom, I know this has been not an easy day for you as well, but I see the tears in your eyes because you do care.
Crazy.
You do care. What are your hopes today as a mother?
Oh, she is.
And what are your hopes today, Mr. Haralson?
I just want the truth.
Well, I think I've heard sufficient testimony, and I think it's time we get the truth. Jerome, may I have the results, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Haralson versus Smith, when it comes to 19-year-old Talia Smith, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Haralson, you are the father. We found your father, Talia. We did it, honey. You made it. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you. We did it, baby. You said we was gonna do it.
Talia, would you like to go down and stand with your dad? Now, I want to ask you something. Because when you came in the courtroom, you said you couldn't look at him. Can you look at him for the first time? Oh, honey.
You can cry too.
And so can you look at your daughter? Can you look at your little girl? She's been through a lot to get to this point, Dad.
Proud of you. We go leave here and do what we gotta do.
Okay, I'll try.
Ms. Bruce, you say your ex-boyfriend was supportive during your pregnancy and never had any doubt about paternity. It wasn't until your now 17-month-old daughter, Nevaeh, was born that he started to deny that he was her father and now does nothing for her. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Miller, you claim the plaintiff slept with your friend and you know that he is Nevaeh's father because you believe it is medically impossible for you to father children. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Bruce, you say he needs to step up.
That's right.
What does he do for your daughter?
Nothing. He hasn't done anything for my daughter all this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there the whole time that she was pregnant and, but this year, she's correct. I haven't done much because
Nothing.
of the
He's done
situation being the way that it is between her and I.
That has nothing to do with
concerning
our
the
daughter.
paternity of the
She
child.
still needs food. She still needs daycare.
And you still need to
needs
prove that
everything.
she mine.
And so you've pretty much been doing this on your own.
Right.
Right.
So take me back. I want to understand the nature of your relationship, how you all met, got together.
I met him years ago at a party. We talked for a minute. I wasn't really interested. We didn't really talk much for a few years, and then he contacted me on Facebook in January of 2012, and we've been talking ever since then.
Talking, what's that mean?
Well,
You've been doing
we
more than
started to
talking
date.
if Nevaeh's here.
Right.
And
Right.
he could potentially be
it
the
moved kind
father.
of quickly. He moved in, and then we started to,
So
obviously
wait,
have-
how quickly after you met did he move in?
Very soon, like a month.
So a month after you...
No, let me stop her right there. I met her technically like 10 years ago.
Right.
So it's like we were already familiar with each other.
Right.
So the process just went faster because of that.
And is it a committed relationship? Are you boyfriend and
It was
girlfriend?
never committed, apparently. Ever. It was never a monogamous relationship. I found
side.
out very
Yours
early
and
on.
On both sides?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, you
I
said
found
it
out
right.
very early on that he had been doing things outside of our relationship.
That's a true statement. Yeah, that's true. Things happened between us and we broke up, so there was no more commitment. But we continued to deal with each other on other levels.
Right.
But the relationship...
Deal with each other on other levels. Just go on and tell the story.
Sex.
Okay, so you still
having
continue
sex,
to have
hanging
sex.
out, still acting like we're in a relationship.
We were living together. We were on and off throughout the last 5 years. It was never on the whole 5 years. Let me say that.
Right.
But you were on enough at some point,
Right.
you
Right.
found out you're pregnant.
Right.
So when you got pregnant, was this during a time you were together and committed or broken up?
We were broken up. But we were still sleeping together.
So you find out you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
When you find out you're pregnant, take me to that day. What happens?
Him and I both went up to a drugstore. We both got a test. We both came back to my house. I took it, called him in there. He saw it was positive. We got along fine throughout my pregnancy all the way up until the 8th month.
So wait, was he happy?
Yes.
Well, we was broken up. She was with who knows. That's just because the test come back that she's positive pregnant don't mean I'm positive the father.
Right, and we discussed
True.
getting a DNA test, and I was okay with that because we hadn't been together. I was okay with getting the DNA test.
Oh, so immediately there was a discussion of a DNA
Right,
test.
yeah, no, it was
So
fine.
immediately you expressed that you may or may not be the father of this child.
Going into her pregnancy, she wasn't even 4, maybe 5 months pregnant before I was like, hey, we're gonna have to get a DNA test done because.
But did you say you thought that she wasn't yours for that reason?
I ain't gonna never ever rule out the possibility that she's mine. Because I know that I was having sex with you unprotected. So the possibility is there.
So why the discuss, Ms. Bruce? Because if I listen to Mr. Miller's testimony, he's basically saying she got pregnant during a time where we weren't committed. So while I know I could potentially be the father, I don't know if there could potentially be another father.
Right. I don't disagree with you that he had a reason to want a DNA test. It's just the way that he asked me for it after our child got here. He said, she just don't look like me. I need a blood test, is what he said.
Okay, but you was
so
already
you're
knowing.
saying...
So I understood if I was in his position and I was the man and he was the woman, I would want a DNA test as well because you never know what someone's doing behind your back. So I understood the fact that he wanted the test.
Well, you have the opportunity. We're in court now, so you have the opportunity to testify. Were you doing something else with someone else?
No.
But you believe she slept with your friend.
Right. Yes, that's what I believe. And it's like during her pregnancy, he started to just kind of pull away from me. I'm not thinking much of it, but it was when she had the baby that things really came to light as far as the friend is concerned, because the day that she gave well, the day that, she went into labor, she had a C-section. And I'm up there to the hospital when the child is born. One of my friends gladly welcomes the child like a friend would welcome his friend's child. Like, hey, let me hold the baby. The one that's been distant, that's exactly how he was in the hospital that day. He don't want to hold the baby, but I noticed how he looked at the child.
Really?
When he came into the room, it was one of those looks like he wanted to see the baby, but not be dealt with the baby.
Your friend of 30 years, this is a person you know very well, was acting uncharacteristically different.
Right. When the child was born, the friend, he gave me a gift with some onesies in it. One of the onesies specifically said, my daddy is the blank. Okay, I won't say the name because the name that was on the onesie is a nickname that the friend goes by.
What?
I have that right here.
Thank you. So you say this friend who started acting funny brings you 2 onesies for the baby?
Mm-hmm.
And it has the other guy's name.
It said his nickname, not his real name, but I'm his friend. I know what you go by, of course. She knew what it was, and she hurried up and put it back in the box.
He's lying.
I ain't never seen a baby wear.
He is lying.
So did you get a onesie that had his friend's nickname on it?
No.
Boy.
So one of you all lying.
He's lying.
Okay,
it
I'm
can't
lying.
be.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Are you still in touch with that friend?
No.
You confronted him about this paternity issue?
Oh, yeah, I confronted him about this situation. Matter of fact, he actually reached out to me, called my phone, and he's like, as soon as I answer the phone, hello, he's like, hey, what's all this about? You think Kelly, baby is my baby? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I think.
Do you have any other reasons why you feel like this friend could potentially be Ms. Bruce's?
I mean, I have also, since the baby's been here, I have had people call me and say, we seen your baby mom car in his neighborhood. So,
all right, hold on. So you submitted an exhibit to the court to explain this situation. All right, I'd like to see this exhibit.
Okay, this is the neighborhood that he lives in. Out there, it's a residential neighborhood. Ain't no stores out there, no clubs, no place but somebody's house. Okay?
So you're saying her car was spotted in this neighborhood?
Right. Not once, twice. Somebody done called me.
But did you see my car? Did you see it?
No, I never said that I saw her car. I said someone has reached out to me and said they seen my baby mama car in this man's neighborhood.
So you think she's in this neighborhood because she's taking the baby to see?
That's what I originally was thinking.
Your friend?
Right.
So, Ms. Bruce, you're saying that this story is fabricated?
Completely fabricated.
Why would multiple people say they saw your car?
No one said that. Mr. Miller has said that to himself.
Somebody said that.
Nobody has said that.
How you know? How you know ain't nobody said that?
Nobody had, because I know him. Nobody has said that.
I know you. You one of the biggest liars in the city.
Nobody has said that.
Hold on. Let's be respectful.
Right. I didn't have me and him.
So you deny all of this?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
All right. I'm not going to admit to anything that I haven't done.
So when Nevaeh was born.
No, you did.
And Mr. Miller was there for the birth?
He was there for the birth because I asked him to be, because a month prior to that, he was MIA. He left my house when I was 8 months pregnant, and he went and got his own place and claimed it was for his daughter, but she never once went to that house, ever.
Oh, why she ain't go
And then
there?
when I
Why
tried,
she ain't been there?
Then when I tried to establish paternity.
Why my daughter ain't come to my house?
Excuse me.
Tell the
When
judge
I
why the daughter
tried to
ain't come to my house.
establish.
Is it your daughter?
I signed the birth certificate, so technically it is my daughter.
It is.
Okay?
Okay, now.
She has his last name.
We are testifying. This is your daughter under the law. You are the legal father.
Right.
We do not know if you're the biological father.
Right.
But you are the legal father.
Of this child.
If, in fact, it is determined today that he is not the biological father, then he can go back to your home state and petition the court to have his name removed.
I'm aware of that. Yes, I'm confident. I don't have anything to worry about. And I also have a picture that I wanted to show you since he...
You brought evidence?
Yes.
A photo?
Yes.
Jerome, will you please hand me that photo, please?
John has said that he was so doubtful for so long. You know, that's just a picture after my child was born.
All right.
Of him and her.
So this is a picture of you.
Right.
And it's the
I just
picture
think
of
it's
beautiful
odd that
Nevaeh.
someone that's really that sure
See,
that
that's
he's
the
not...
whole thing.
Can I
And
forget?
what's odd is that I'm a man who was dealing with a woman and she got pregnant, and me being the type of man I am, knowing that I'm even a mere possibility, I don't know who you've been sleeping with, but just the fact that I'm a possibility, I'll be the one to step up.
That's the funny part. You're gonna step up and take a picture? Well,
No,
thank you.
I stepped up.
Well, I mean, if you look at, hold on,
Right.
hold
I'm
on.
doing nothing now. I got to figure this out. I can't continue because I ain't going 18 years.
But I-
Hey, you
Take
wanna
a
hit it?
breath.
Okay.
Take a breath.
I just
No,
feel like,
take a breath. The look on your face, Mr. Miller, the look on your face to me says doubt.
Right. So that lets you know how long it's been present in me.
You said in your court file you don't even think it's medically possible for you to have children.
Right.
Explain that to the court.
This child was conceived when I was 35.
But you
years old.
signed a birth certificate.
Right. I never
Okay.
had any children prior to this, and I'm a real sexually active guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never had any kids, so when she got pregnant, I just was kind of wondering, like, dang, I didn't even know, you know.
And so you believe you have a low sperm count.
Yes, ma'am. I believe my sperm count is low, and I don't believe that I can father a child.
When we get to this courtroom, we're about answers.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we ordered you to undergo a semen analysis, and we have those results.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome, can you please escort Dr. Jamila Gator into the courtroom?
Hello, Dr. Gator. Hi. Go right up to the witness stand.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Gator.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We're here discussing the paternity of beautiful baby Nevaeh. Mr. Miller has indicated through his testimony he believes he has a low semen count. So can you explain Mr. Miller's results specifically?
Yes. So in Mr. Miller's case, his total volume of sperm in the actual analysis was quite low. His actual total sperm count was also borderline low at 19 million. So normal is closer to 40 million. His motility was actually very low. Normally males, 50% of their sperm are motile, which increases the chance of pregnancy because the sperm has to swim to the egg to basically fertilize it. So in Mr. Miller's case, only 24% of the sperm were motile, which is very low.
What is the chance that he would be able to father a child? Because here we, of course, are talking about paternity.
So it's possible still for Mr. Miller to father a child with a low sperm count, but the likelihood goes down significantly with a sperm count that low.
Very interesting. So when you hear that, Mr. Miller, does that in any way affect your belief as you came into this courtroom, what you feel about Nevaeh?
You know, and hearing this just confirms that thought that I had. You know, I don't want her to just, oh, that's your baby, oh, that's your baby, that's your baby, that's your baby, that's your baby. Like it was just me that you was dealing with, like you claiming.
All right, so Ms. Bruce, has your position changed?
Nope, it looks like he's clear from here on out. He shouldn't have any more kids, but he's got mine.
Well, we'll see.
They were swimming fine then.
Okay. Well, that's all that matter, right?
That's right.
We'll find out how well they was swimming.
At the end of the day, I just want him to be in her life. I want him to be a father to my daughter. She deserves that.
Those are your hopes.
Those are my hopes. I just want him to get past some of the anger that he has towards me in order to stop hindering the relationship with her once he finds out that she is his.
Well, let's get to the truth
Let's do that.
so we can see where we go from here.
Okay.
Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Bruce versus Miller, when it comes to 17-month-old Nevaeh Miller, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Miller, you are the father.
Yeah, okay.
You are the father.
That's perfect for me.
That's your gorgeous little girl.
I really appreciate it, and I apologize to her for the way that I have handled the situation throughout this whole year and throughout the...
Just
My
step up
baby.
and be my baby's daddy. That's all I want you to
My
do.
baby.
That's it.
So when you look at your little girl now, I see you feel emotional. Why do you feel that?
Because I have allowed so many different influences to keep me from me.
Well said, because when you make a child, it is a part of you.